¿A dónde está papi? 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 ¿A dónde está papi?
Lots of storms this weekend, and we had some power outages going on. Good to see everybody. Derry Bennett, Heat, how's it going? Yellow King, welcome. I'm just me. Thank you, I appreciate it. Cat Pig, Kamikaze, welcome. Good to see everybody indeed. I hope everyone had a good weekend. We are just hanging out. We were just hanging out the most of the weekend, just kind of hunkered down there. A-Bond, welcome. Special thanks to Phil Connors for subscribing yesterday. Thank you. I appreciate the support, folks. If you enjoy the content and you want to support the channel, there are many different ways of doing so. Consider checking out the merch store. Very proud of that. Join the Discord, folks. Join the Discord. The last Saturday of every month we do movie nights. Michael Hasser, welcome. The last Saturday we do movie nights. We're doing Dune 2. So if you haven't watched the first Dune, now is the opportunity. Not this coming Saturday, but the next one. That's right. You also get emotes, folks, if you follow or subscribe. Yeah, more emotes. I heard that was actually pretty good, Kamikaze, and I heard Alien Romulus was actually pretty good. It was? Alright, there you go. I wonder when it'll come out on streaming service. That way I can watch all the movies in the proper order. I want to tell you what happens, but I won't. I'm sure I'll get around to seeing it. Alright, folks. Let's get started, folks. We got a few things to go through. Tonight is the DNC first night. I don't know if we'll actually be able to even see any speeches. I don't know when these speeches are set to start. I thought us Trekkies had dibs on Romulus in space. Ah! I'm watching every night. I might pop in to watch some of what's going on after this. Who's speaking tonight? A lot of big names. I think AOC is set to speak too. She's gonna be one of the openers, right? Sean Fain also gonna speak. So that's pretty cool. Sean Fain is set to speak, and I heard there was going to be a Palestine panel. A Palestine panel. We'll see how that goes. I missed the beginning of that. Speak at what? Speaking at the DNC, the Democratic National Convention. Joe Biden is also set to speak. I feel like there's a couple more people. They're wheeling out Bill Clinton. For some reason. I'm surprised Hillary Clinton's not speaking. Or maybe she is. I don't know. Oh, really? Hillary too? Oh, man. I thought it was just Bill. Tomorrow night is the Obamas. Gotcha. She is. Boo. I'd imagine the Clintons will dismiss and insult the reportedly 75% of Democratic base that don't support Netanyahu like they've been doing for a while. I got it off the Rashnash server. Tonight is Hillary. Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay, here's the lineup. UAW president. My president. Sean Fain. AOC. Hillary Clinton. Jamie Raskin. Jasmine Crockett. Grace Meng. Andy Bashir, which... Okay. Raphael Warnock. Chris Coons, and Joe Biden. I wonder, when the speeches will start. Might actually join a union for the first time in my next job. If I can afford it, they take huge fees here. That's space, though. Pays off in the end.
But me and my peeps, we're not going to take this lying down. So I'm going to say to Kellyanne and others, it's time to pipe down. You've been warned.
Oh,
I've had about enough.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
We're going to get into a little bit of drama because Dan Bongino is going to call out Kellyanne Conway for possibly being a saboteur within the Trump administration. Now, I did not pre-watch this video, so I don't have all the context, but, you know, the fact that he's taking shots at Kellyanne Conway, who's been a loyal soldier to Donald Trump, that's really telling, and it kind of just goes to show you that Trump world is spiraling. You know, you've got Republican on Republican violence everywhere. Cat Turd going up against Matt Walsh and Tim Pool. You've got homophobic streamers going after white supremacist streamers like Nick Fuentes for saying that Trump is going to lose, and if he doesn't give in to his demands, then he's going to encourage Groypers to vote against Donald Trump. Like, it's all just chaos right now, and I'm enjoying it quite a bit. But of course, whenever I talk about Dan Bongino, I've got to show the legendary tweet from the Kid Mero, because I think that it was a couple years ago, so 2019. So 5 years ago, Dan Bongino was going after them, saying the biggest talkers are always the biggest cowards, fake tough guy. He was calling the Kid Mero fake tough guy. And the Kid Mero bodied him with these tweets here, saying, Dan, your head shaped like the brave little toaster. Shut the fuck up. Stop trying to ride my wave, fucking bozo. Now, ever since that tweet, I cannot unsee the brave little toaster. His head is actually shaped like a square. It's a cube. Like it's fucking insane. But he adds more.
When I was watching MSNBC, someone was singing in the background, singing "Freedom."
To it. He said his head is shaped like a GameCube, and he's really over here talking spicy fucking Big Mac box head
Oh
ass.
man, that's too funny. That's too funny because like the memories I have of the GameCube is just playing Super Smash Bros. It looks like the DNC is gonna start like at 8, I think. So, well,
Again, I see GameCube when I look at him. So the Kid Mero bodied him. So that's what I think about. And what's funny is that Dan Bongino actually blocked me because I also called him GameCube head, and I said that his head was shaped like the brave little toaster. So he's apparently like very sensitive about this. It is uncanny, right? It is uncanny. So, okay.
yeah, 8 Eastern, sorry.
With that being said, getting that out of my system, let's hear what he has to say about Kellyanne Conway, who is apparently a saboteur. I don't know why he's saying this, but let's just watch.
Do hear that. Well, maybe they do, because I sent them the article a few minutes ago. Get your friends, text your friends right now, bud.
All right, hold on. Before we get into this, I need to go grab my drink, okay? We can't have a stream without me drinking random seltzer water or healthy soda. Give me a second. I think it starts at 7, but they're going to start talking about it at 5. Gotcha. 7 Central? Is that... What is that in Eastern time? 8, right? Pretty sure it's 8. Well, 8 here. Now you're probably wondering, like, hey, how did he get that soda so quick? Does he have, like, a soda stash? Yeah, I do. Just gotta make sure my headphones are right. Alright, Dan Bongino. Gotcha. Hit me, Bongino.
Bongino Army, tell them they need to tune in. They don't have to
Okay, I'm sorry, I have to say more about his head. It's time to give up. Shave it. Okay? I don't know what he's doing with his hairline. It looks like he's shaving it back. Like he's shaving it back further than it needs to be. Maybe that's just the way that his hairline goes. Either way, I think that it's receded enough to where if it were me, I would make the call. I'd say, okay, we'll rock a bald head at this point. It's fine. You know?
Oh, looks like Mike Figueroa agrees with you, Heat. Is it refrigerated? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It is refrigerated because I've actually got a tiny little drink cooler over there.
You know, there'll be some adjustment, but I think it would look much more normal if he shaved his head. But because he has, like...
Please welcome President Ronald
Please
Reagan.
welcome
who has a few
Ronald
questions for
Reagan.
you.
the hair that goes all the way back, it's giving GameCube, especially. So I'm trying to stop obsessing about his cube-shaped head. So
to watch the whole show if they got to watch this right now. We have two big problems right now in this election. It's not the VP selection. It's not Trump's messaging. That's all bullshit.
It is. Okay. I'm just letting you know right now it is. Okay. I love it when I'm right.
none of that stuff, okay?
Me too.
are you sure it's not Trump's messaging? You don't think that there's anything wrong with him speculating about whether or not Kamala Harris lied about being black? You don't think that there's anything that might turn off voters? When he says, oh, she AI'd her crowds. You don't think there's anything wrong with that, Dan? Really? Listen, I get that your head is shaped like a cube, but your head's big enough to house a brain that can at least comprehend, like, basic common sense. I'd hope. So, I mean, like, anybody can see the messaging is ass, okay? The messaging is bad, and if you can't admit that, then that just tells me you're a fucking sycophant who is never going to criticize Donald Trump. People who can't criticize candidates they're supporting, never trust them, because politics is just a team sport to them. But let's...
Right. So, guess which one Dan Bongino lands on?
listen to what this GameCube head ass has to say.
Forget that. Throw that in the garbage. We heard that in 2016, and he went on to win pretty handily, by the way, in the Electoral College, okay? We have two things going on. There's a lot of internal sabotage going on right now that I honestly did not want to highlight because I would like to stay focused on the Democrats, and I was hoping it would go away. It's not, and now we're going to out it today. And second, the media has now gone, I mean, full-blown Pravda. I mean, beyond Pravda. They'll actually make Pravda look like honest brokers. Let's address the sabotage.
Let's hear it.
So this morning, I'm sitting here, I'm putting the show together, and it's late. This is probably the latest cut I ever said over to my team. Right before I walked upstairs. And I said, guys, you got to put this in the show. I see this Daily Mail article, August 14, 2022. I believe that's today, right?
Let me stop you right there. The Daily Mail. Okay.
Inside Trump's meltdown. The ex-president is lighting up his staff because he's pissed about picking J.D. Vance. As insiders feel he's going to fire two extremely talented campaign gurus.
Amazing. What does the upside down flag mean? Isn't yes, it's exactly that. It's a distress signal, right? You're supposed to use it as a distress signal, and these losers are just not. They're using it incorrectly. Yeah.
Wow, I love this. I love this. Hearing him read that headline is so satisfying.
Martha Williams, Daily Mail. Again, I was going to let this go, not because I
was going to let this go, but now because I need to make propaganda, I can't. Okay. So he's dressing like a victim. Yep, it's literally the classic conservative play, right? Yeah, that's exactly what's happening.
didn't want to put it out there or expose it, but because
here
I want to
am.
stay focused on winning, and I felt like it was a distraction, and all I care about
Sorry, he's being such a fucking drama queen right now. I mean, listen, between now and November, there's going to be approximately 10 million fucking headlines, all negative about Donald Trump shitting himself and being an idiot. If this one headline has already got you so fucking angry, I mean, buckle up, man, because it's going to be a long election for you, bud.
this cutesy time being over and winning.
It's going to be a long 3 months. Don't tread on me.
About ruthless
Don't tread on me. I'm the one that's supposed to be treading on you.
political tactics. That's all I care about. However, this is getting tiresome. Folks in the chat, any idea what's going on with this article?
They're anti-Trump? I don't know. Is this Dora the Explorer?
You know Kellyanne Conway?
Stop asking questions, okay?
Do you know what's wrong? That's why they wear boots.
Hey, fill us in. All right, here's the tea.
Oh, that's yeah.
What? Did anybody get that?
Wait,
I'm here.
what was that again?
You know Kellyanne Conway?
Never heard of her.
Oh, that's yeah. Conway. Oh, that's
Nope, I got nothing.
I'm sorry. Am I missing something here? This man is he's unraveling. What the fuck? He's genuinely unhinged.
Oh, that's yeah.
A very normal and hinged response. I think we need to take Pop-Up to the hospital. No, me neither. No sabe. No sé. Me neither, honestly.
I'm hearing some
This is low key how Biden sounded in interviews. Oh God, we're 2 minutes in, and I'm really enjoying this so far. Yeah, he's speaking in tongues.
things from some things from some things from some people from some people.
What? Some things from some things and from people from some.
For a while now,
Huh?
that she's probably not that happy about J.D. Vance being picked.
I mean, most Republicans aren't, because he's a fucking disaster. Now, I'm sure he's going to explain more, but is the tea that, like, she doesn't like J.D. Vance? Because I'm sure that, like, everyone in Trump's circle is like, why the fuck did he pick this idiot? But we'll let him continue.
Well, I mean, there's a very, very like specific answer to that question. His brain is short circuiting. Yep.
I'm telling you, I talk to people a lot who know a lot of things.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
This story, put that headline up again, is bullshit.
Oh, look at his eyes.
Jesus. Yo, are you okay, bud? I haven't seen Don Bongino in quite a while. Dan Bongino. Man, is he good? What's going
Ladies
on
and
here?
gentlemen, it's no secret I like J.D. Vance. I'm telling you this with absolute objectivity. I have not spoken to J.D. Vance about this, but I have spoken to other people.
That's
This
not,
story about President Trump being upset about picking J.D.
It's not what that word means, I think.
Vance is bullshit. It is absolute bullshit.
Listen, this could be a bullshit story. There's a bunch of anonymous sources. Oftentimes they're incorrect. They leak things to the press. They want to create a narrative. They want to, put feelers out there to see how people are going to respond to something. It's possible that this story is not correct and Trump isn't lighting up staff because he's pissed about picking J.D. Vance. With that being said, though, is it plausible to assume that Trump is feeling some buyer's remorse? Of course it is. J.D. Vance is one of the most unpopular vice presidential candidates in modern American history. He is less popular than Sarah fucking Palin.
Yeah, which is that's actually impressive how that's true. Okay. I'm getting decorative Halloween skull. By the way, he's only on the table because he's a jackass. Usually looks don't matter. Correct.
Do you know?
Back briefly, that's not Trump who's less popular than Palin, or is it? No, he was talking about J.D. Vance. He was talking about J.D. Vance as far as being the least popular vice presidential pick, even less popular than I can see Russia from here, Palin.
How bad you have to be less popular than Sarah Palin? Come on, man. Come on. I think Dan Bongino is just biased because he is a JD Dick rider and he can't fathom that, Trump would be dissatisfied with this pick. But Trump is dissatisfied with the pick. There's the New York Times article where Trump was in a meeting with donors and he was asked about, how do you feel about Democrats framing you as weird? And Trump's response told us everything we need to know. He said, they weren't saying that about me, they're saying that about JD, or something like that. So, of course, he regrets picking JD Vance. And what I love is that, since JD Vance was such a bad pick, Republicans tried to make it seem as if, Kamala made a comparably bad pick by choosing Tim Walz.
Right, which that doesn't work. Hey, Falmashina, how's it going?
I think the day after she chose Walz, Kellyanne Conway tweeted out, "Oh, it's Tim Walz. Oh, what a relief. Phew." So they're making it seem like, oh, she just fucked up so bad. Turns out Tim Walz is extremely popular and has the highest approval rating of everyone, even more so than Kamala Harris. So turns out Tim Walz, really good pick. J.D. Vance, not so much. His numbers continued to go down.
Can someone clarify which one of Trump's pick were good? Hasn't he backstabbed and fired all of them in some way? Yeah. Yeah. That's That's a perfect summary of yeah.
So what he's saying here, like, I understand that maybe the article is hyperbolic. Overall, though, 0% chance Trump does not regret picking J.D. Vance. I think that's cope if he tells himself otherwise.
He killed it on this weekend show. Of course, there was going to be an oppo drop after J.D. Vance was picked. If they picked Rubio, Bergram, or Tim Scott or anyone else, there was going to be an oppo drop. J.D. Vance, smooth sail.
I agree with that, but it's also true on the opposite side. Like, Republicans were trying to say, oh, man, if Harris picked Shapiro, that would have been great. When we all know that they would have called Shapiro a communist like that.
Right. Hey, Bipedal Meatbag, welcome. You're not sending their best. Let's hope for more good decisions in Harris' campaign. Yeah, let's hope that, like, actually the, I'm actually interested in seeing how that Palestine panel is going to play out. I want to learn more about that and see how that goes.
Now, it's unquestionably true that Democrats would have done an oppo drop on Burgum or Rubio, but here's the thing. There maybe wouldn't have been as much shit to work with. With J.D. Vance, there is endless things to work with because, I don't know, for like a year or so, he went on 25 podcasts a day and said the most crazy shit any of us has ever heard. So the fact that there's so much there is the problem. The fact that he got in the race and immediately the childless cat lady comment pissed off so many people, that's a problem. Are there any comments that, Doug Burgum or Marco Rubio made that would have gotten as much play? I genuinely don't think so. So yes, there would have been oppo research. This is an election. But J.D. Vance is an objectively bad pick. I'm not saying that because of vibes or because I don't like him. I'm saying that because that's what the numbers say. That's what the data indicates. Americans don't fuck with him because they don't like him. They think he's weird. They think that he's insulting women. And overall, he's just too authoritarian. He wants to ban porn. He's against childless.
Which is all true, by the way. All of this is true. All of this is true.
Cat ladies. Like, he's a freak. And so Americans they don't like him.
Right through that, crushed it on the weekend shows, and is now lighting up the internet with viral clips. This story's BS. I suspect strongly this was a leak from people who wanted another candidate for vice president. I'm hearing from some friends of mine that this is the Kellyanne Conway camp. Now, if you look...
Oh, so he's trying to insinuate that Kellyanne Conway is doing what Nancy Pelosi did, albeit on the Republican side. So in the same way that Nancy Pelosi worked behind the scenes to get Biden to drop out, Kellyanne Conway is doing the same thing. I think if he is making that insinuation, it's a little bit of a stretch. I think that Kellyanne Conway is probably dissatisfied with the pick. Anybody who wants to win should be. But I don't think there's this coordinated campaign to sink J.D. Vance. And I think he's making a big deal about this because it's the Daily Mail. This is a trash rag to begin with, right? So anything that they print, I'm taking with a grain of salt.
Yeah, that's why I was like, the Daily Mail? Really? Okay. My new talking point, my fear is Donald dies, and then we get J.D. Vance as president, a know-nothing stereotypical politician, and occasional effort. Calling the Daily Mail a trash rag is an insult to trash magazines everywhere. Agreed.
But the fact that he thinks, like, maybe this is a sign of some sort of a conspiracy with Kellyanne Conway trying to pull a Pelosi and, get J.D. Vance to drop out, I think he's kind of reaching here. To be fair, I don't necessarily know if that's what he's saying, but he's heavily implying this.
Look at Kellyanne Conway and where some of the money in that sphere is coming from. There is an interest in Ukrainian politics. And some of the other vice presidential candidates, are you guys picking up what I'm putting down? Some of the other candidates were very interested in a more muscular posture in Ukraine where there was a lot of money to be made for a lot of people. J.D. Vance is interested in a more cautious approach to Ukraine. So the money train may have dried up a little bit. So
Okay. The reason why this doesn't make sense is
What is he on about? Biden should resign so Harris can become the 47th president and make all Trump merch worthless. It's already a good chunk of Trump merchandise is already pretty worthless with the F Joe Biden, let's go Brandon. Man, an entire market collapsed just like that. It would allow Harris to campaign without having to remain loyal to her boss. I think like that kind of also would be nice, right? The money train, we spent a small fraction for oil in the Middle East, and if she could do that, there'd be a tiny chance that she might actually at least slightly change course on Gaza. Maybe.
is because doesn't Trump basically have the same position as J.D. Vance on Ukraine? So, I mean, if they got somebody else who was more of a hardliner on the issue, would that really make that big of a difference at the end of the day? Because Trump is going to take the same posture and be the same? See, this is why I think that he's reaching a little bit too much to say that this is a conspiracy. Because I feel like if they wanted to get J.D. Vance out, I don't think that that motive makes sense to me. The motive would just be, we want him out because he's bringing down the ticket. He's dragging down the fucking ticket, so get him off so we can win. I mean, look, we all saw what happened when, Joe Biden was kicked to the curb. Kamala surged. So maybe they want to try to, see if that magic can happen for them. Kick off J.D. Vance, bring on Burgum, and then all of a sudden, Trump surges. I don't think that a VP candidate would have that effect, nonetheless.
Not for him. Not for Trump. I think that it this is a pretty losing position for him, because let's say that he does let's say that he does change the VP pick, he's not gonna get that much support by change. He's not gonna have the same effect. That changing the VP pick is not gonna have the same effect as what the Democratic Party did, right?
I think that they think it's worth trying, right? Now, I don't know, logistically speaking, if you can even get J.D. Vance off the ticket now, because, early voting, I think that's already started in some states. I'm not sure. But, I mean, we're 2 months away from the election, essentially, a little more than 2 months. So it's going to be hard to replace him, right? He's on the ticket already. But
please don't scroll. Listen to me. My name is Hiba from Gaza, and I'm supposed to be studying for my medical school final exams in these days.
It's so
we'll let him
freaking sad.
continue.
It's like a sin to like the VP more than the Messiah. True. Gotta make them look weak and make Donnie look like more of a Tommy than he already does. Yeah, Trump wants a mulligan, but it's too late for that, buddy.
A lot of people are really upset. So instead of shutting the up, I'm trying to get the language under control. Instead of...
You okay, bud? You want to talk to somebody, dude? You okay? Because, man, whew.
just shutting up and trying to win now with this great ticket, there are people out there sabotaging the ticket right now because it looks like their influence wane. Because let's just say, is everybody picking up what I'm putting down? That
No.
They told other people, don't you worry, I'm going to get this guy picked as VP, and don't you sweat that Ukraine thing.
Okay, his energy is giving Charlie in the mailroom. I think that if he wanted to argue that Kellyanne Conway is trying to sabotage J.D. Vance, you can make this case without being so hyperbolic. And also the way that he's doing it is getting very goofy. The word vomit, the the weird sounds he's making, I don't know. He's not convincing me.
Everybody over there picking up what am I being? Producer Jim, you text me. You get where I'm going with this?
We know what you're trying to fucking say, Jesus Christ. But, you know, he's got to make sure that the staff is still with him because he's spitting so much truth here. It's hard to follow.
Yeah. Can these guys ever make a point without just yelling everything? No. Welcome, John Rando. You're not Dwayne Johnson. No one can smell what you're cooking. Welcome to Simon Locke. The only good thing Bongino has ever done is being featured in a Nick Lutsko song. I got you.
I wanna be at the RNC. I wanna see Patricia McCoskey. I wanna scream for the GOP. I wanna sit with Dan Bongino. I wanna show the American flag. Eggs behind the toilet in Grandma's basement. I wanna ask him if he'll be my dad. I wanna change my name to Nick Bongino. I wanna tell him about the man in the stairs. He kinda looks like Dan Bongino. Grandma tries to tell me not to go down there, but I would be safe with Dan Bongino. I wanna be at the RNC. I wanna be like Dan Bongino. I wanna be at the RNC. I wanna be like Dan Bongino.
Oh, man. That's too funny.
Follow
Yeah, perfect pick of a square head.
along.
You thought I was going to be quiet about this, didn't you? You thought like, oh, he'll just let it go. Listen to me. The Bongino Army
Listen to me. Listen to me, okay? I want to be at the RNC.
is the most powerful force right now in conservative politics.
Is there a Bongino army? Do many people watch Bongino? I mean, what he's saying here is... I don't know, man. This is coming off as so cringe. Okay.
Just a fact. It's just a fact.
Just a fact.
Thanks to you, not to me. I'm only one guy. There's nothing powerful about me. I need a knee replacement. My shoulders don't work. I can barely bench press the 150 pounds anymore. I'm falling apart.
I could
I'm
tell.
a collapsing, rotting meat bucket right now.
What does that have to do with anything? You okay, bud? Are there any baby boy Bonginos? I don't know if he still does, but Bongino is one of the most top viewed on Facebook. I don't doubt that at all. Guy, that tracks super hard. That tracks so much. Muscle weakness happens after prolonged HGH use, but just say no to drugs. Collapse faster. I want to be at the
More he talks,
RNC.
The less sold I am on what he's selling me. Okay. Now I'm completely off the conspiracy train. I don't think Kellyanne Conway had anything to do with this. He's trying to like make it seem like Kellyanne Conway is some big villain, but you're assassinating your own character here, right? Yeah, weird flex, but okay. You're assassinating your own character here. You're making yourself seem so uncredible that nobody's going to take you seriously.
But my brain still works okay.
We can tell.
That's debatable. It can barely sit in that cube-shaped head.
Have you been saying you're going to write a book for a while? Now that the world's flipped upside down and things are feeling rather
No, that's not a thing that I've actually thought about. But hey, stay tuned for a Difficult Truth novel. Wait, is Kellyanne now an enemy of Trump? When did that happen? When Don Bongino made up this crazy conspiracy that she is going against the dear leader because she doesn't like JD Vance because something I can't follow what the logic is here. But yeah, something Ukraine betraying the dear leader, and she's somehow a part of it.
Brave little toaster ass motherfucker. I had to. Okay.
And I am a foot soldier in an army full of people that has grown very powerful. We are the biggest conservative live streamer in the world. It's not even a close second anymore.
Is that true? Like, this dude is irrelevant as far as I'm concerned. I would assume that the more popular live streamers would be Ben Shapiro. I mean, I hate him, but objectively speaking, much more popular than Dan Bongino. Does anybody even listen to this guy? Like, I never hear about him.
Yeah, boomers on Facebook, okay?
And he has me blocked, yes. But, come on. He has crazy numbers on Rumble. Okay. If he has crazy numbers on Rumble, sure, but, like, not even close.
Wait, how could we even verify that? Like, let's say that is true, that he's, like, super popular on Rumble. Because, you know, obviously it's like a far-right platform. But, like, we know that those numbers are kind of suspect to begin with. He'd put Shapiro in a headlock. Well, he used to be able to. Can't be the king of the cons without being able to physically bully. Yeah. Well, since he's not able to physically bully, as he just stated himself, he just resorts to verbal bullying.
In terms of, like, some of the top conservative streamers, I feel like that's demented if he thinks that about himself. He could get good numbers without being, like, one of the best. I think he's just, like, high on his own supply. I don't know. And what is all of this?
I want to be like Dan Bongino.
Like, autofellatio have to do with the conspiracy about Kellyanne Conway? Like, I don't understand why he has to hype himself up.
You don't have to like it. I don't really give a shit. But me and my peeps, we're not going to take this lying down. So I'm going to say to Kellyanne and others, it's time to pipe
Me and my peeps. Okay, dude.
down. You've been warned.
Oh, shit.
I've had about enough. J.D. Vance was a great pick. J.D. Vance has upsides and downsides like any other pick, but he's fantastic. He's been doing great, and the leaks got to stop. You know that story's bullshit. The president, they love J.D. Vance. You're making this up. These are leaks designed to sabotage the campaign because there's a whole lot of money to be made by making sure you get people interested in funding your endeavors in that position. I'm really sorry to have to bring this up, folks. We should be focused on winning. But according to this article I saw this morning, which that's it. Rope, end of it. I'm done.
What?
That's really stupid. Let me check Kellyanne Conway's Twitter. How does she respond? I would like to see a retort from her. Oh, she hasn't tweeted since August 9th. And then she shared this video of her appearance on Fox News, and you have the player, and then the video is like really teeny tiny.
A little bit as the attack dog on the other side. What Vance did yesterday.
This is such a boomer thing to do.
Computer, enhance.
Like, what the fuck is this? So I guess we don't have a response. Let me check her replies really quick just to be sure. No, nothing. Oh, and here she is saying JD Vance is hitting his stride this week. So she's complimenting JD Vance, and Dan Bongino is like, I know you're sabotaging her, you fucker. Yeah, I feel like I'm going to have to side with Kellyanne Conway here, even though she posts this dumbass small video inside of a bigger video. I think that there's no evidence to the claim that she planted that story in the Daily Mail, and even if she did, nobody takes the Daily Mail seriously. So this is an L all around for my guy Dan Bongino here. He's unhinged, he looks disheveled, and he needs to give up on that hairline. Shave it off, brother. You're gonna be so much happier. You're gonna feel a little bit self-conscious at first, like for the first week or so, but then you're gonna be like, oh, I'm so glad I decided to shave my head, because it just right now, again, it's still giving GameCube, and it looks fucked up. The hairline's fucked up. Just shave it off, and if you shaved it off, I think that you would actually look a little bit tougher. Like, you would look more tough, which is important because he's trying to project strength. But it just, when you got that goofy ass hairline and your cube shaped head, it just, the tough guy shit doesn't work. That shtick is just not working. It's giving Chia Pet. Oh my god, yeah, it is. Like when you put the seeds over the top.
10 years ago, I took some friends falconing, and a woman ahead of me hit and
Hey.
killed. Not me, a woman killed.
I wanna be at the RNC. I wanna see Patricia McCoskey. I wanna scream for the GOP. I wanna sit with Dan Bongino. I wanna show the American flag. Eggs behind the toilet in grandma's basement. I wanna ask him if he'll be my dad. I wanna change my name to Nick Bongino. I wanna tell him about the man in the stairs. He kinda looks
Like Dan Bongino.
Grandma tries to tell me not to go down there, but I would be safe with Dan
Bongino.
I wanna be at the
RNC.
I
Wanna be like Dan Bongino. I wanna be at the RNC. I wanna be like Dan Bongino. Okay. Sorry. Last one. I think we should probably yeah, appropriately unhinged. Now I'm gonna have to listen to Baby Shark to get that out of my head. Oh man. I think we should probably start with this one rather. Let's do this one.
These pollings, like in terms of how Harris matches up with different groups and how she matches up with Trump on different characteristics. Again, you know, we'll see what happens with the Democratic convention. There's going to be a lot of protests there. We'll see if that inhibits things. Who knows what could come up in the next 3 or 4 months. But this is not a good sign for Trump either. If Republicans start...
I watched an episode of Umbrella Academy last night that had Baby Shark on repeat for a while. Jeez.
To distance themselves from Trump. You're going to start to see the indication of that from the sort of lobbyist class and from the sort of big name never Trumpers who had signed on and became Trumpers. So it's not like, you know, the Lincoln Project people. They're orphaned. When you look at someone, let's say like Kevin McCarthy, who is going to have to do business, and his whole thing is going to be doing business within the Republican Party. He may, who knows what he's going to, he may end up, trying to become Republican chair, but who knows if that's going to happen under a Trump. But this is, I found this pretty interesting, that McCarthy is out there and starting to criticize Trump.
And you've got to make this race not on personalities. Stop questioning the size of her crowds and start questioning her position when it comes to what did she do as Attorney General on crime. Question what did she do when she's supposed to take care of the border as a czar. Question that they brought inflation. And she was the tie-breaking vote when it came to inflation, when it came to IRS agents. This is a perfect person to run against. You thought John Kerry was a flip-flopper? She is the biggest flip-flop with the most extreme positions.
Flip-flop, flip-flop.
And you got a short time frame to do it, so don't sit back, get out there and start making the case and use her own words to do it to her.
You raise money.
Okay, now if you're out there criticizing the campaign, like, you're not seeing any big name Democrats going out there and criticizing Harris and Walz right now.
And McCarthy isn't like a Trump antagonist usually, and especially even going down for the speakership, he's still even being considered, or at least prior to this, there were reports that in a potential next Trump administration, he would be considered for like White House chief of staff. Like he's not someone who just like that's making any like.
Let me tell you what he's doing here is he's hedging his bets.
Right.
He is starting to build some type of narrative for the Republican Party post-Trump here, which is stunning that this is happening in August. And it's not major, and that's not the way he's going to do it. But this is the way that politicians work. They plant a couple of seeds. If things turn around, he'll never pursue this stuff again. But you don't see people going out there and criticizing Harris and Walz's campaign. They won't do that now. And then this...
Well, they can try, Fomashna. Yeah, politicians got to politish. Okay, so I'm watching part of the CNN coverage of the DNC. It looks like they're still getting ready. Less than half an hour away, they're gonna start doing more stuff. 8 p.m. is the official start time. It looks like, as far as I can tell, they're still, getting stuff ready. This groundwork so that if Trump does lose, he can go, look, I was saying this was going to happen back in August. Exactly. It's exactly. That's what Sam was implying there, that he's hedging his bets, right? It's like watching a big-time chess match. I think 6:30 is the start time. 8 is the prime time speed. Oh, okay, gotcha. No wonder the countdown was... I was confused because it said the countdown was less than half an hour, but the actual... what is it called? The TV guide that shows you what's going on in the programming for each hour said that it didn't start until 8. So I'm the one that messed up there. Okay, gotcha. Thank you, the simulacra.
I found also fascinating because you remember there was this Republican candidate who was staying on the ballot in the primaries and drawing some actual votes, even though she clearly could not win. And you may have already forgotten who she is because she appeared at the convention and literally
bent the knee.
Took the knee. I mean, I don't see literally take the knee. She almost brought here's some whatever frankincense and myrrh from and brought it up to Trump's throne at the Republican National Convention. But here she...
It's going to be interesting seeing Biden as the last speaker around 11. Man, I guess we're going to have to roll the dice to see which Biden we get, right? Because isn't his office hours up to 10 p.m.? Isn't that a bit late for Biden?
He is.
Just a little bit.
Realizing, maybe it's time for me to sort of fire up the engine again. Not for this race, but she's already looking at...
I'm sorry. Yes, the simulacra is correct. His office hours are from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. I apologize. Not 10 p.m. It starts at 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Ah, man.
2020.
True.
This campaign to win. But the campaign is not going to win talking about crowd sizes. It's not going to win talking about what race Kamala Harris is. It's not going to win talking about whether she's dumb. You can't win on those things. The American people are smart. Treat them like they're smart.
Do you think the campaign is missing the mark on those things?
We're coming up on a major fundraising deadline, and there aren't many more between now and the election. So I am asking you.
I think
maybe he took a nap. I hope so.
The campaign needs to focus. That's the main thing. Look, this is a winnable election, but you need to focus. Who is your target market? Your target market is suburban women, college-educated, independents, and conservative Democrats. That's your target market. The target...
I've got news. Donnie, so you're saying I should talk about the size of other things in other crowds. Got it. Man, I wish I had that clip on hand of him literally just doing that. I think it was at the original the original debate in 2015 or 2016. Was it an exchange between him and Marco Rubio? I can't remember, but it was the original time when he was running for the Republican nomination. Small
issues are the economy, the fact that Kamala wants to raise taxes, the fact that she's taken money from those that didn't go to college and has given it to those that did, the fact that when Afghanistan fell, the fact that when they lifted sanctions on college and has given it to those that did to raise taxes. The fact that she's
hold on, stop. Raise taxes on who? Because that kind of matters, right? Like if the plan is to raise taxes on the uber wealthy, that's a good thing. Like objectively, like raising taxes on the wealthy is a good thing. That's what we should be doing. Having hands is great. Yeah, I agree.
Taken money from those that didn't go to college and has given it to those that did.
Literally not how that works. Shine a lie and say that she raised taxes on the poor, the conservative plan, right? Raising taxes only compared to current levels in the West on the rich is an economical and social no-brainer. Yeah. Like if by raising taxes, you mean the proposed corporate tax rate, the proposed corporate tax rate hike that she wants to raise taxes on corporations, then yeah, you should be in favor of that.
The fact that when Afghanistan fell, the fact that when they lifted sanctions on Iran,
Wait, the fact that when Afghanistan fell, what? What? Like she's trying to gish gallop. She's trying to gish gallop so much that she can't even finish the BS points that she was trying to make. So she's running through them. Yeah, she's just gonna say that Kamala was in the room. Yep.
the fact that when they, actually
lift sanctions on Iran and what? Like, where's the bad stuff that you're supposed to be hitting me with, right? She's just gish galloping so much that she can't even finish the BS points she's trying to make anyways. That's amazing.
said that they would help Israel and then pulled back. Where was Kamala when that happened? She was sitting.
That didn't happen. Right. Cat Pig is correct. So, Trump had this plan, right? That plan was already, in the back burner, and, it kind of just got executed while Biden was there. Is that the same woman who signed bombs in Israel? Yes, exactly. Although Obama had lifted some sanctions on Iran, I'm 99% sure. Right, to secure the Iran deal. Yeah, and but again, she's just saying things, right? There's no bad point attached to it, right? She's just saying lifting sanctions to Iran, okay, and Trump broke the treaty and Biden refused to repair it, or did I miss something? Yeah, I don't think they've been able to secure anything. No wonder she lost to Donald. She's the Republican Hillary.
Right next to Joe Biden in the Situation
I mean...
Oh, man, the simulacra called it. That's right.
Aside from me wishing that all of those things that she said had happened.
Yeah, literally none of that. She just gish galloped a whole bunch of stuff, and towards the end there, she just shoehorned a bunch of BS that she didn't even finish making the points at all. What was the bad part about that? Amazing.
It is the idea that Donald Trump is not going to win an election, is going to win an election based upon policy is just absurd. I mean, it's just absurd. I mean, the reason why he was able to beat Hillary Clinton, there was a lot of reasons. I mean, some of which were, her failures, some of which were James Comey's failures. But the formula that Trump used was to pull her onto like personal back and forth, because that's all he knows how to do. The idea that Donald Trump is going to run a campaign based upon policies only is just absurd.
Right. And like, what policies exactly are they going to be able to run on and win? What policies are winning policies for the MAGA campaign? Like, explain that one to me. Because, like, they can't run on policy. If they run on policy, they're done. Because their policy is abhorrent. Like, the little policy that they've put on the table is abhorrent, right? Like, what little policy they have is pretty freaking awful. Like, as far as I've been able to gather, the policy that Trump is seeming to run on is like, brown people are invading the country and destroying the country. I loved how in 2020 they had actually admitted that the GOP is just a Trump cult. Yeah, that's just what it is. The lack of policy is the policy. I know what CRT is, and I have an opinion on it. It's very positive, but somehow I doubt the typical MAGA voter knows or cares. Yeah, they're not into, like, you leave any type of nuance, common sense, critical thinking, you leave that at the door, okay? You put that red hat on, that's it. Yeah, like, what little policy that has been put on the table is pretty freaking abhorrent, and it's not something that the American people, that most normal people are jiving with, right? It's just that brown people are coming to take your jobs, brown people are invading the country and destroying the country from within, and it's the Democrats' fault for having open borders, and that's how the country's falling apart. Like, literally, that's it. That's about as much policy as we've gotten, and you can't run on that because it sounds freaking abhorrent. Most people are not down with that. That's the same racist BS he always says. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But they can't just run on that. Like, they can't put that at the front and center. He can say that to his crowd, right? Like, he can do that talking point all day to the MAGA crowd, right? Because they love it. But apart from that, that's not a winning strategy. Right, because there is no that kind of highlights the issue, right? Like, there is no issue, because if there was, then wouldn't you want to fix it? It's more it's more somehow I doubt a poor white or black working class person worrying about a brother dying from opiate addiction gives a shit about this Twitter BS against Sarah T. Well, yeah, I mean, Trump though is not running much on anti-wokeness or anti-wokeness or anti-CRT or anti-DEI. He's not really running that hard like DeSantis. He's not running that type of campaign.
He exhausts his possibilities after he says immigrants are nasty, psychopaths from insane asylums.
There you go.
Like, that's his big policy stretch.
Right. Like, that's exactly what I'm just saying. That's exactly what I was saying. Well, yeah, a lot of this stuff exists on Twitter, Catpick. Like, that's literally where that kind of stuff exists. And when you bring it out to the real world, it turns out that, like, even among Republicans, like, they just don't care. They just don't care about this anti-wokeness stuff. It's exhausting. Like, outside of the cult, not much traction there.
So when Kevin McCarthy and Nikki Haley go out and start saying this stuff, they are not talking about the Trump campaign. They are creating a narrative that they hope to sort of regain control of the Republican Party if this thing goes down in flames. And it's just fascinating to me that they're doing this in August. Like, this is the type of stuff you start to see in mid-October when they think they're going to lose, not in mid-August. Keep a watch on this, because to see who else starts to say these type of things, because nobody, what is it? Losing campaigns are all orphans or whatever. I don't know. There's some saying. But it's fascinating to me to see this going on with these two, in these circles, and they're doing it on Fox. It's not like they're saying this on I don't know where else they would go on television.
Bannon.
Yeah. Well, no, he's in jail.
He's talking with
the rural people like public schools.
Somebody the other day. He's broadcasting still.
Is he broadcasting still?
Unless I saw an old clip, maybe I'll check that out.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and
I'm
check out our daily show.
Subscribed, Samuel. I'll give you a like, though. All right, folks. Shifting gears. Let's talk about this.
We got told we had to move in a hurry. Times of distress, I have a tendency to be rather sarcastic because I always say I'd rather laugh than cry, and that was kind of one of those situations where you're literally throwing all your belongings to the street at one time. You're not being evicted, and your wife's not kicking you out of the house.
Maurice Gutierrez lives in Naples, Florida. His house flooded in 2022 when Hurricane Ian made landfall on the southwest coast of Florida.
One of the strongest September hurricanes to strike the U.S. in decades.
Significant storm, again, a Category 4.
The street will never be the same. Trees gone, neighbors gone, homes are gone. And here I am today rebuilding because I won't move. I love this place.
A year later, Maurice got a notice from his insurance company. They were doubling his premium to $7,500 a year.
Hurricane Ian, that was not that long ago, right? I'm pretty sure I went down there. I think that was the hurricane I went down. What is it? 2 years ago. Yeah, okay. This was it. Wait. Was it the one that hit the West Coast? Hurricane Ian was the one that hit the West Coast, right? I knew someone from Naples. It was a very nice town. Was that the one with DeSantis' white boots? I think so. Hey, Firefly, welcome. Last year or two. Yes, it was about 2 years ago. I think. Okay, so this one is the one. I went down there. I went down there. And it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad.
The year after that, it was up to a staggering $9,000 a year.
That's
criminal. Fixed income retiree, that's not chump change.
So Maurice decided to drop his wind coverage. Now he's one of hundreds of thousands of Floridians that are going bare. That means they're living with little to no homeowners insurance in a state that is set to have a record hurricane season this year. And what's going on in Florida under Governor Ron DeSantis is a warning. This is what happens when a government capitulates entirely to the insurance lobby. We went to Florida to talk to other homeowners like Maurice. We found out that residents are being priced out of coastal communities, and sketchy insurance companies are thriving under DeSantis' policies.
It's essentially trickle-down economics, but for insurance companies.
And the housing insurance crisis isn't just a problem in Florida.
People around the Bay and across the state are now being told their homeowner insurance policies
will not be renewed.
State Farm says they're discontinuing coverage for some customers.
Several major carriers are pulling out of Iowa and other states.
Experts warn the collapse in the homeowners insurance industry could take down the entire housing market with it.
Should those systems start to collapse, or should that business model collapse, it could take down the entire American economy with it. It could take down the global economy.
Cool. That's so cool that, like, literally a small group of incredibly wealthy, incredibly wealthy capitalists can actually torpedo the entire economy because greed.
The water came up to this line right here. At first, it's like, it can't get much worse. It can't get much worse. And then it's like, oh my God, when is it going to stop?
Maurice has lived in Florida for most of his life.
Raised in Miami, so hurricanes to us are, as far as I'm concerned, a weather event. You know it's coming. You prepare. You don't get complacent, but you get used to them.
Nearly 1 out of 5 Floridians is like Maurice. They've been forced to cut back or go without insurance.
That option allows me to manage my own risk.
Okay, let's back up and talk about how insurance actually works. Insurance companies...
Yep, and stage monopolies. And then buy them up for the scraps. Buy up the scraps for pennies and do it all over again. Yep, there's more than a few corporations involved in making the previously livable land unsustainable. Yes. I'm only talking about, like, the insurance company. But yeah, I mean, this stretches out to quite a few industries.
Determine premiums for you based on risk assessment. Generally speaking, the higher the risk, the higher your premium goes. They assess risk factors like the quality of building materials in your house, your neighborhood, what kind of dog breed you own, and of course, natural disasters.
So, if you have a wildfire risk in California and a hurricane risk...
Bro, really? What type of dog breed you own could affect your homeowner's insurance? Wild.
In Florida, those two things are supposed to balance themselves out.
But as the planet warms and natural disasters increase, the insurance...
Which incidentally, fossil fuel companies also have that under their on their shoulders. Insurance companies don't mess around with liabilities. That's true. And all bigger dog breeds, a lot of people don't know that. Huh. Well, the more you know, but I guess that makes sense. Liabilities. The color of your car affects your car insurance. That I did know. If you have like a yellow or red or, kind of like a racing car color, that could affect your car insurance premium.
Business model hasn't been keeping up.
And what's happening is that the risks of some of those perils, of climate-driven perils in particular, are increasing so much that the insurance companies are having a difficult time making the profit that they've always expected that they will make.
In response, major national carriers are raising rates and cutting policies. Today, 12% of people in the United States don't have homeowners insurance. Up the coast in Fort Myers, Florida, is Priscilla O'Hara.
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
She stayed in her home during Hurricane Ian, just like Maurice.
My son and I stood at the front door looking out the glass window and watched the rivers right over there. Watched the water coming up, and here it's coming, nothing we could do. Here it's coming. And then the wind changed in about 10 feet from the house, and back out it went.
Her roof was damaged, but when she filed the claim, her insurer State Farm told her that her policy didn't cover wind.
I don't think
wild.
We really realized that we were not.
Yeah, that makes total sense, Hashina. That makes total sense. But your house insurance doesn't cover dog attacks. It does if something happens in your property. It's called, I forget what type of liability it's called, but if something happens on your property, I think it's part of that coverage. At least here it's personal liability, entirely separate insurance here. I believe it's tied into our homeowners. I forget. I haven't read my policy in a while, but I'm pretty sure I saw something. I'm pretty sure I saw something to that effect. Like, if something happens, then we allocate X amount for any accidents or anything that happens, whether for guests or other people that are not you. Man, I forget what it's called, but it is in the homeowners policy, at least for us here. It makes sense as most people are homeowners.
Not covered for wind damage. Did not know that. I mean, hurricanes are wind.
The next year, State Farm dropped her. They said her house, which was built
personal
in
injury protection, but like for the home, right? Because I don't know if it's considered the same, but in the car insurance world, it's the same, right? In the car insurance world, you have what's called personal injury protection, which is like the basic coverage that would cover the other person if something happens. Might be that liability attaches to the location of the attack, your house, or grounds rather than the cause of the dog. Right. It's all because something happened in your house. Somebody slips and falls and gets, hurt in your home. That, all that stuff.
76 was too old to insure.
I've been with them for 40 years, probably. Was a total shock, yeah. Oh, okay, this goes back. Well, he paid this in September of 2022, $881. So, I mean, they had our premiums all those years, went in their bank account.
State Farm ended that year with a net worth of $131 billion.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Yeah, until it's not, right?
The roof damage cost her over $6,000, which she paid out of pocket.
Okay, you can tell a little bit. There's a little different shade. It cost us $6,292. $6,292 to have it replaced.
Priscilla shopped around, but she couldn't find an insurer that she trusted.
I want a company that I know something about, not some company I've never heard of before.
That seems smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately in Florida, that's...
That roof damage, I could do it again, I guess. Don't want to, but I guess I could.
So what exactly happens to someone if they don't have insurance?
If you don't have insurance for your home, you might lose your mortgage or you might face higher mortgage rates. And worse, if you have a disaster and your home is uninsured, then you lose the value of that home or you face that out-of-pocket cost to repair that house, which could be hundreds of thousands of dollars or more. So it can be absolutely bankrupting.
Priscilla and Maurice have both paid off their homes. But if you have a mortgage, you have to have homeowners insurance.
Correct.
So for people who can't find insurance, Florida has something unique. A state-run, not-for-profit backstop that is actually the number
I think it's called Citizens something.
one insurer in the state.
Citizens Property
Citizens
Insurance.
called it.
Property Insurance, a state-run insurer called Citizens.
I'm just messing. I'm from Florida, so. This is very, 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 a story well too known to me. Usually your bank forces you to. Yes, if you don't put insurance, they will put insurance. It's not it's not an option, right? If you don't put homeowners insurance, they will.
Citizens Insurance.
Citizens Property Insurance was established in 2002, 10 years after Hurricane Andrew hit Miami.
It's absolutely for sure, no question about it. It is going to happen tonight.
Hurricane Andrew was, at the time, the costliest hurricane in Florida's history, and it hit the insurance industry hard.
And the state was facing the prospects of incredibly precipitous economic decline, and they wanted to avoid that.
In 1992, Miami was a city of almost 2 million people. Lawmakers didn't want to see the city decline. So in 1993, they held an emergency...
When they charge you on your escrow, then they charge you on your escrow to secure... Yes, if they pay for the insurance on your behalf, correct. For a bank to refuse to secure a loan against an uninsured home, I mean, it makes perfect sense. If you live in a high-risk area like Southern Mississippi, you can lose your house just for not having insurance. Yeah.
Emergency legislative session.
Yeah.
created what would later become Citizens Insurance.
And it was wildly successful. It did provide insurance to people who couldn't buy it on the commercial market. But more importantly, it reversed the flow of people leaving the state. It canceled the possibility of that exodus, and it led to enormous growth.
Citizens was supposed to be the insurer of last resort, but then the state was hit with a record hurricane season in 2004 and again in 2005, as more parts of Florida became uninsurable.
Correct, Falmashina. And if you want that type of coverage, it's extremely expensive. Yep, the bank doesn't care about anything. The bank's not interested in anything except their investment. Their investment, right? Because they own the house. Technically.
Citizens expanded to protect more homeowners. Now, 1.2 million Florida residents have public instead of private insurance. This backstop is important.
If you start to lose insurance in a community, then the home values will drop as a result of that. And as those home values drop, you'll see people start to move away from that community and the tax base decreases. And as the tax base decreases, you have less money for schools, you have less money for infrastructure and fixing potholes in roads and so on. And you start to see this sort of spiral of decline, this negative momentum.
A study from the Environmental Defense Fund calculated where the most money could be lost in tax revenue due just to increased risks of flooding. Homes in coastal Florida, they determined, could be overvalued by as much as $10 billion a year. And this whole video, you're thinking, well, luckily I don't live.
That's amazing. And you're forced to be in a scam. Yep.
In Florida. Here's the national map. But the public model has a major flaw.
It's put more people in the path of risk, so it's...
However, the guy claimed that more affordable housing leads to less population. It won't even cover the drywall. Yeah, you gotta get you have to really, really read the policy. Home values drop and people start moving away. Yep. Since most of the shitty weather is because of pollution that Republicans insist in allowing should take insurance costs out of the RNC funds. I second that motion.
Their economic vulnerability, but it's also affected the way Americans vote. It's affected climate policy on a state level and on a federal level because constituents are not expressing urgency to enact policy to address climate change, to lower those risks, because they don't feel those risks.
Yeah.
None of this has stopped people from moving to the coasts. In 2023, a year after Hurricane Ian's devastation, Lee County's population still grew. But the people who have been able to rebuild...
Me too. Me too. And, yeah, it's something that you have to read, like, you have to read everything about that policy to understand mainly to understand what it's not going to do for you, right? Because, like, that's the important part. Because I think it's kind of, you know, it seems logical to think about what the policy is going to do for you, but I think it's a bit, you know, it might seem counterintuitive, but I think it's easier if you understand what the policy doesn't do. I got lucky enough to live in an area where you can rent well, so I don't have to deal with all this BS. I have almost 20 plus miles from the coast, and we have to pay over $1,000 a month just in homeowners insurance. What? Sheesh.
And afford their homes has changed. Fort Myers Beach is a coastal island just west of Fort Myers. It's been a popular resort town and home for retirees since the 1950s. Ian was the costliest hurricane to ever hit Florida. The Category 4 storm did $112 billion in damage, and Fort Myers Beach was one of the hardest hit. A third of the homes on the island were destroyed. But the town is rebuilding. Everywhere you look, there are cranes and scaffolding, and large RVs where former residents are staying. We met with Lori Curry, a real estate agent who has sold property on the island since 2004.
I think when you drive here, you see the obvious changes from its original days when it was mainly a retirement community and a little less affordable for some of the original owners.
Lori says a lot of the smaller retiree homes that were built in the 50s and 60s were damaged.
Jeez. I'm eager to own again, but it won't be for a year or two. Let's hope all this is sorted by then. Yeah. It'll be all right. Okay.
And they're being replaced by rentals bought by wealthy investors.
The people that came and bought at a discounted price, they knew what they were doing.
Many former residents struggle to rebuild. A report from Bloomberg said the building on Fort Myers Beach, especially with the new federal and state building codes, can easily start at $1 million. 8 out of 10 homes sold the first year after Ian were purchased with cash. It turned out that Lori and her husband had their own fight with their insurance company after Hurricane Ian.
They canceled us.
Yeah, they canceled. Yeah, they said they weren't going to, and then they did.
They'd had roof damage, and initially their insurer Edison wouldn't cover it. They ended up taking the company to court.
They fought us.
We have the case because of the loan we got because of Katrina that caused over 12 feet of water damage in our own house, totaling it. Jeez.
Tooth and nail the whole way. So that's the mentality of the insurance companies. You know, they like to take your money, but they don't like to pay it off when there's a risk involved.
Lori and Ron say they were lucky. Because they had an attorney, they were able to get a new roof, and the cost of the attorney and public assessor was covered by Edison.
And that's the problem, is some people are very reluctant and reticent, and they're still suffering.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of foreclosures. They're walking away.
So Fort Myers Beach is an extreme example, but Florida is in the middle of a housing crisis, and rising prices are impacting renters and first-time homebuyers the most.
We have been in an affordable housing crisis for years in Florida. The insurance crisis is making it far worse.
You might think the role of the public option, citizens, would be to keep these costs down, but there's a problem with that. Since the creation of Citizens Property Insurance, the insurance lobby has pushed to keep rates high.
The emphasis should always be to try to get those people into the market where they're paying the full rate and not counting on their neighbors to pay part of the tab for them.
The state...
What a ghoul. And remember, this is also in Mississippi, in Missouri, the most broke city in the U.S., most broke state.
Initially required that Citizens be non-competitive, even as insurance companies kept raising rates more and more.
The insurance industry used to love Citizens, right? They loved the idea of a last resort insurer where they can just sort of like leave the dregs, the most risky and unprofitable claims off on the public while doing the rest of the stuff themselves.
I'm sorry, yes.
After those
You're right. Mississippi, not Missouri. Missouri's MO. Don't pay attention to me.
Hurricane years, the state changed the rules. Citizens didn't have to be more expensive than private carriers.
Right now, these private companies are taking on all the safe risks where they are assured a profit and passing all the bad risk onto the state.
Oh, I said Mrs. Okay, gotcha.
Via Citizens.
Just never mind me then.
Property insurance company.
The insurance industry hated that.
If you're in South Florida and you can get Citizens coverage at 30 to 40% less than the private market, you're going to do that.
In 2022, Ron DeSantis caved to the insurance lobby.
And we have to create an environment where people want to come in and compete for your business. You can't dump everybody on Citizens Property Insurance.
The Florida legislature passed a series of bills that would overhaul insurance law, and Ron DeSantis started depopulating Citizens Insurance. The goal was to kick people off of the insurer of last resort and get them back into the private market. But with so many major insurers denying coverage, customers are stuck with companies that are a lot more risky.
Yeah, particularly in the last 10 to 15 years, large national insurers, the kind that you would recognize from commercials,
we are farmers, bum, 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 bum,
have pulled way back for the most part.
And in their place are companies called domestics.
These are smaller in-state companies that tend to have far fewer resources. They aren't nearly as well capitalized. They're heavily reliant on reinsurance, which is insurance they buy for themselves.
DeSantis is trying to get new companies into the state, but he isn't being very discerning. Enter Slide Insurance.
Say what you want, that Farmers has a catchy jingle. It does. It does. It does. I'm not sure. I might have said Missouri. I don't know.
A startup founded by one of the lawyers for Enron. Yes, that Enron.
I knew that there were going to be mass insolvencies in Florida,
So we raised a tremendous amount of capital to really kind of capitalize on market opportunities and provide new solutions to the homeowners.
The CEO of Slide Insurance, Bruce Lucas, was thrilled about DeSantis' changes to insurance laws. The new bills made it harder for customers to sue insurers over unpaid claims and created a bigger fund of reinsurance to protect insurers. That's the insurance for insurers.
Right.
And most important, it handed Slide Insurance more customers. The Washington Post reported that businesses like Slide can cherry pick the policies they want, choose the properties that have the lowest amount of risk, and reject the ones in flood or hurricane-prone areas. Lucas laid it all out on a podcast called The Insurance Guys.
You get to cherry pick the policies.
Correct.
You are underwriting and cherry picking the best policies.
That's just wild that they can do that, right? That's just wild. Okay. Beyond absurd.
Even kind of the worst ones there.
Sometimes policyholders don't even know they're being pushed off of their plans. As long as the new policy is less than 20% more than Citizens Premium, they can be forced off of their policy.
You send out these notices and it gets mixed in with everybody's junk mail. In the trash can it goes. Next thing you know, you've got 200,000 customers.
Last year, Slide was approved to take over 250,000 policies from Citizens.
The bad news, it's about 4.3 times what I was quoted for Citizens.
The premium for the same level of coverage from Slide was $14,684.
They've also swooped in to buy out policies from insurers that have gone bankrupt or left the state, like United Property and Casualty and Farmers Insurance.
This year, they provided a different option for me if I wanted to switch called Slide Insurance. That sounds shady.
So just how risky is Slide Insurance? They aren't a publicly traded company, so it's hard to know all their finances. In interviews, Lucas touts the fact that Demotech gives them an A rating, but the more reliable Weiss ratings gives them a D+, pointing out that they have low liquidity and capitalization. Reporter Jason Garcia thinks Citizens should be expanded.
A public nonprofit insured.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Let's got it. What will it take to defend our fundamental rights and our freedoms? It will take someone with leadership who would fight for us. And
Let's go, Brandon
America,
Johnson.
Leadership, Kamala, she's got it. And what will it take to defeat MAGA Republicans and move our country forward and not backwards? It will take everyone, and let me tell you all, Kamala, she's got us.
An insurance that doesn't have to publish basic accounts, that does sound shady.
From Mississippi to Pennsylvania
Mouse
to
Lander.
Delaware, Kamala Harris, she's got us. From Michigan to Wisconsin to Nevada to California and right here in Illinois, Kamala Harris, she's got us. To the child care workers, to the tip workers, Kamala Harris, she's got us.
Yeah, like it's kind of like I want to be able to show more of this, but I don't know if this will even just playing the audio, if this is gonna get like nuked out of orbit.
There's no better place to start that than right here in the greatest freaking city in the world, the city of Chicago. God bless you all. Thank you.
Hey, at least we caught some of it.
The mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, opening up this convention. Very exciting. These folks are getting very, very excited right now. Just ahead.
Wolf Blitzer. I don't think the DNC would send DMCA strikes over this. Not the DNC. Not the DNC, the news outlet. Whatchamacallit? CNN. Yeah, be safe and don't. I think, yeah, the network. The network would. I don't know about the DNC, but the network would. Not as catchy as Not Going Back. I assume there's a broadcast run by Dems directly. I actually don't know if there is like a live stream that's going on that's DMCA free. PBS and C-SPAN are also airing it. C-SPAN C-SPAN and PBS are a lot more safer, I think. Well, then let's get this party wrapped up so we can head on out and do the I can watch this thing.
Does not have to earn a profit. That allows it to charge insurance that is more affordable.
And 2 Florida representatives agree. Republican Spencer Roach, who survived Hurricane Ian himself, and Democrat Hillary Cassell.
Steve Kerr is going to be speaking too. Isn't it disrespectful that she is the only one they call by her first name? I think it's depending on the context.
A former litigator for insurers, both think Citizens should be available to all homeowners in the state.
Because, like, I don't think he was being disrespectful in that. In that sense. Bro, I'm considering living in the woods, especially since I'm moving out in a month and a half. Hillary, Bernie, Pete, Beto, all first names.
Think of this as the National Flood Insurance Program, but instead of at the federal level, it's at the state level. Florida, at some point in the future, is going to embrace the idea of universal wind coverage.
But they're up against a powerful political force that doesn't want to see Citizens expand. Since 2019, when DeSantis was sworn in, the insurance industry has donated nearly $10 million to DeSantis and the Republican Party. And the bills that DeSantis has passed since have almost all been handouts to the insurance industry.
The entire overarching strategy that Governor Ron DeSantis and the current Florida legislature
That's true. They do have Kamala on signs.
have is to help private insurance companies make money in the hopes that benefits will trickle down to consumers.
Okay, so what does this all mean for the average homeowner or renter? Florida can prove as a model for what not to do. States should provide affordable not-for-profit plans for residents that can't rely on private insurance.
It's a risk, but I think it's one well worth taking. Paradise has a price. I'm hoping to live the rest of my golden years down here. I'm not going anywhere.
And while these major insurance companies claim poverty, remember that in 2022, the CEOs of the top 10 insurance companies made a combined total of over $130 million. There's one more layer to this whole story. Climate change is increasing the likelihood of disasters that are driving up risks for insurance companies. But those same companies are literally adding fuel to the fire. Public Citizens Ann Perot writes that insurance companies, including State Farm and Allstate, have major holdings in fossil fuel companies. State Farm is also part of ALEC, the group that has lobbied against emission restrictions. And for his part, DeSantis accepted almost $3 million from donors contributing to the climate crisis in 2022. And this year, he signed a bill that weakens environmental protections and bans construction of offshore wind turbines in state waters.
What I've found is people, when they start talking about things like global warming, they typically use that as a pretext to do a bunch of left-wing things that they would want to do anyways.
This year...
What?
People, when they start talking...
What I found is when they start talking about things like global warming, it's an excuse to do things, to do left-wing things that they wanted to do anyways. Question mark. What is that kind of an argument, man? Seriously? Thankfully, I'm not, but it seems like the process of having any home is intended to be unpleasant. Universal wind and coverage, but that's communism.
Talking about things like global warming, they typically use that as a pretext to do a bunch of left-wing things that they would want to do anyways.
Like what? Praying to mantis. What does that mean?
This year, the United States has already experienced 19 weather events that cost more than $1 billion in recovery. We have to be honest about the impact of climate change, take efforts to fortify homes and cities, and start the work to transition to energy that doesn't use carbon.
True.
Thanks for watching The Classroom for more Perfect Union.
All right, folks, we got to run through these two articles. George Santos reaches plea deal, pleads guilty to wire fraud and identity theft. That's right. George Santos, who was expelled from Congress as he faced nearly 24 criminal charges, reached a plea deal on Monday with federal prosecutors in New York on 2 federal counts. Santos pleaded guilty to wire fraud and aggravated identity theft. Oh, man. A short time ago, after years of telling lies, that's funny. The boot. After years of telling lies, former Congressman George Santos stood in the courthouse behind me and finally under oath told the truth. And that truth is that he is a criminal, said U.S. Attorney Brian Priest. Santos pled guilty to serious crimes involving fraud and identity theft. He also admitted to committing all other crimes he was charged with in superseding the indictment. As a result, he will finally be held to account for his actions. Priest said under the deal, DeSantis will go to prison for at least 2 years, although the judge said the plea deal may come with an estimated sentence ranging between 6 to 8. He's set for sentencing February 7th at the federal court in Central Islip. Under the agreement, Santos will have to repay at least $373,000. Wow. Yeah, it is pretty funny. So today, for what may seem like the first time since he started his campaign for Congress, Mr. Santos has told the truth about his criminal schemes. He admitted that he lied, he stole, and that he conned people. Santos' countless lies and audacious misrepresentation catapulted him into Congress. But for the victims of Santos' various financial crimes and the community whose falsehoods and fabrications deprived them, of honest representation in Congress, he's worthy only of infamy. Now we just need to get the Pizzagates investigation. I see what you did there. And arrest complete. It wasn't me, it was Kitara, or was that the identity theft? That's a whole lot of cheddar. Yeah. Santos spoke in court acknowledging a series of crimes. He also spoke quickly. He spoke so quickly the judge had to tell him to slow down. He admitted fraudulently using credit cards of at least one other person for his personal benefit, as well as making false statements to the Federal Election Commission. He also admitted to committing wire fraud between September and October of 2022. Quote, "My actions have betrayed the trust of my supporters and constituents," said Santos in court. Prosecutors said they had they gone to trial, they were ready with more than 500 exhibits, including text messages, emails, financial records, flight records, along with dozens of witnesses. Over the weekend, sources confirmed CBS News that Santos would enter a guilty plea. By phone, the ex-Republican congressman told CBS New York's Marcia Kramer that he would be in court, but he could not discuss a possible plea deal at the time. Santos' 11-month stint in Congress was defined by a scandal after he brazenly embellished his biography to win his seat in the 2022 midterm elections. His life story continued to unravel when the Justice Department indicted him in May of 2023 and again in October. Among the 23 federal felony charges, Santos is alleged to have defrauded campaign donors and then used the money to pay for personal expenses like designer clothing, stole donors' identities, and made thousands of dollars in unauthorized charges to their credit cards, received unemployment benefits while he was employed, lied to Congress about his financial circumstances, and falsified campaign finance reports. Amazing. His House colleagues tried to expel him twice last year before a damning ethics committee report detailing his alleged conduct opened the floodgates for lawmakers to support expelling him. The report found that Santos fabricated his biography while running for office and funneled his campaign funds to pay for Botox injections, OnlyFans subscriptions, Hermes and Ferragamo purchases, and other personal expenses. There's substantial evidence that Santos repeatedly broke the law, the report said. Santos, who had maintained his innocence until now, didn't retreat from the spotlight after his historic fall in the House. He sought to remain in the public eye by attacking his former colleagues on social media, charging hundreds of dollars for videos on Cameo, an app where users pay celebrities for personalized messages, and attending President Biden's State of the Union address in March. He also announced he was leaving the Republican Party and launching a congressional comeback bid as an independent before quickly ending his campaign. Santos told CBS New York in December that he had a long road of redemption ahead of him. Asked whether he was afraid of going to jail, he said, "I think everybody should be afraid of going to jail. It's not a pretty place. I definitely want to work very hard to avoid that as best possible." Oh, man. Santos noted that in the interview that a plea deal was not off the table. Prosecutors said in December 11th court filings that they were in a plea negotiations with Santos with the goal of resolving this matter without needing for trial. A trial was set for September if plea negotiations didn't pan out. So basically Trump, exactly, but without the without the Teflon. Maxine Waters is speaking.
Was sitting there with them. Now here we are, 60 years later at another Democratic convention with Kamala Harris as our party's nominee. Oh, so I know there is no better leader to marshal us into the future. Kamala has been a courtroom prosecutor, a district attorney, an attorney general, a United States senator, vice president of the United States. And when the dust settles in November, and Americans of all stripes have elected her their president, I know she'll be thinking about Fannie Lou, who I happen to know is one of Kamala's heroes. In that moment, all of
that is intentional. that is intentional.
Can ask ourselves, is this America? And we will be able to say loudly and proudly, you're damn right it is.
Are you going to live stream tonight? No.
Maxine Waters represented the House first in 1990.
There you go. We caught the we caught both tail ends of that of those two opening speeches. Are you gonna live stream tonight? No, I'm I cannot stay until say what you will about Sleepy Joe, but I'm sleepy. Okay, I'm sleepy ADT. I think that anyone running for president should not be allowed to say they're also running for the border to avoid charges, should be in leg shackles. In a normal society, you'd think that would kind of be like the logical thing, right? Like, man, this guy's obviously trying to run so that he doesn't get himself in jail. I mean, you would think that there would be some kind of guardrails there, but alas, we are here. House Republicans to release impeachment report on Biden, but next steps are uncertain. Oh boy, with 4 months, I guess they're going to try to impeach Biden. House Republicans have released their initial impeachment inquiry on President Biden, alleging an abuse of power and obstruction of justice in the financial dealings of Hunter Biden and family associates. The nearly years-long investigation by Republicans stops short of alleging any criminal wrongdoing because they haven't found anything that they want to talk about. Instead, the almost 300-page report on Monday, the opening day of the DNC, covers familiar ground, asserting that the Biden family traded on its brand and business ventures in corrupt ways that rise to the constitutional high bar for impeachment. What evidence? We don't know. With Biden no longer running for re-election, the next steps are highly uncertain. House Republicans have not had the support from their own ranks to actually impeach the president, and removal by the Senate is even further afield. Many Republicans prefer to focus the attention on the Democratic presumptive presidential nominee, Vice President Kamala Harris, with some probes getting underway. The White House has dismissed the House impeachment inquiry as a stunt, which it is, which it is a stunt, 100%. I thought they gave up on impeachment last year. They tried, and then they said that they know he did something. They're just looking for evidence of what that crime is, so they're working backwards. But so far, nothing. No longer presumptive, she's officially the nominee. That's true. I thought they gave up on impeachment. A great big nothing burger. Agreed. The totality of the corrupt conduct uncovered by the committee is egregious, wrote the House Oversight and Accountability, Judiciary and Ways and Means panels leading the inquiry. The report said the Constitution's remedy for a president's flagrant abuse of office is clear: impeachment by the House and removal by the Senate. Republicans have spent the better part of the time in the House majority with a hyper-focus on Biden and his family's business, encouraged by Donald Trump as the twice impeached and indicted former president make a comeback bid for the White House. The impeachment inquiry has been a cornerstone of the GOP's effort, launched by former Speaker McCarthy shortly before he was booted from leadership and formalized in December under new Speaker Mike Johnson. Republicans are investigating many aspects of Biden's finances going back to 2009 when he was vice president to Barack Obama. In a statement Monday, Johnson was non-committal on what the House will do with these findings. Quote, "We encourage all Americans to read the report. Through bank records, interviews from some 30 witnesses, whistleblower accounts, and millions of documents, House Republicans allege a years-long practice by Hunter Biden and his associates to solicit foreign business deals using the family's proximity to power in Washington. Much of the focus of the report is not on Biden's time as president, but on the years when Biden family was in turmoil after the 2015 death of his oldest son, Beau, and the vice president was bowing out of elected office, declining to run for president in 2016. Hunter Biden has acknowledged a serious addiction to crack in these years, and he was convicted of a felony gun charge and is set to stand trial next month on federal taxes. Unfortunately, his politics matters beyond its borders, but there is a limit on how far I'll go." Former Hunter Biden associate Devin Archer was sentenced to a year in prison in 2022 in another matter, told the committee at the end of the day, part of what was delivered is the brand. To tie the elder Biden to his son's actions, the Republicans rely on a series of phone calls and pop-by dinner meetings, dinner meetings visits Joe Biden made while Hunter was conducting business. At times, Hunter would put his dad on speakerphone for his guests as the father and son exchanged pleasantries. Bidens are a famously tight-knit family, and knowledge they speak almost daily, including during this time with the father checking on his son's well-being. In his own defined closed-door deposition to House investigators, Hunter insisted that he did not involve his father in his businesses. Like, I mean, to be fair, like, to be clear, like, all of this is just, like, it's one giant, like, nothing burger. Like, is it plausible to think that there might be, like, genuine corruption that you could probably find on Joe Biden? Yeah, I'm sure you could. But, like, are they really interested in doing that? No. Like, this is all an entire, like, publicity stunt. And as you guys just said, a big nothing burger in terms of this. It's just absurd that they spent all this time just to get nothing. Just to get nothing. They wanted a Biden impeachment so bad they could do the both sides thing, right? Yeah, and like as Faux Machina just pointed out, like, yeah, nobody look into the Trump family's business dealings. Nobody do that because, you know, something might come up there. The fact that they got nothing really says something too. Yeah, like, it's just one big nothing burger designed to distract and to waste time, really, to waste time. Because, like, what else are they going to do? You know, legislate? Please. Although I suppose them wasting their time on this is preferable to them legislating, because that means if the Republicans are legislating, it's not legislation I want anyways. I guess if I really want to think, if I really want to, like, you know, massage it that way. Remember when Trump said he'd remove himself from all his businesses and it was a table full of folders of blank paper? Yeah. Pepperidge Farm remembers. I'd rather see Republicans persecuting Biden or made up crap than doing pretty much anything else, right? Yeah, I guess that's another way. That's another perspective, I guess. Remember, folks, when presumably alleged, because I don't know if this is true, the Republicans are alleging this. So remember, when Republicans allege that Hunter Biden is using his dad to secure business deals, that's bad, right? That's bad. But when Ivanka Trump and the other Trump secure business deals using their dad's name and fame and whatever to secure brand deals, that's okay. Yeah, there's actual things that you could argue are impeachable for Biden. And I'm sure, again, if they really wanted to go down the corruption, I'm not disagreeing with you, Capig. And if they really wanted to do like a corruption thing, I'm sure you could probably find legitimate legitimate cases of that, but like they're not actually interested in that. Like that's the whole smoke and mirrors. Allegedly, correct. All right, folks. I'm pretty sure that like the next speaker of the DNC is gonna come up, so I'm gonna I don't know by now if there's evidence of Joe Biden corruption, they probably would have found it. I don't know if they're actually interested. Like I just feel like this just kind of like hits the red meat, you know, for the base, and it just kind of like fills that role. I don't know if they're actually genuinely interested in actually looking for something. Do you get what I mean? Like the whole Hunter Biden, Burisma, that's all you need to do to sell it to the base. You don't have to actually like do anything, you know, although you could be right. I'm actually just, I don't know. Trump got $2 billion unmarked. It's okay. Biden's son got 26 fully noted based on a loan. Illegal. Correct. The GOP, especially in the House, are a bunch of jokers. True. All right, folks. Let me skedaddle out of here. Thank you all for stopping by. I appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Thank you for the support. Thank you for that offline subscription to Phil_Connors. I appreciate the support. Thank you. You guys are what makes this channel grow. Thank you all for stopping by. Cheers. Thank you, Kamikazeon. Thank you, Heat. Thank you, Michael Hassler, for modding the chat. I appreciate it. Folks, if you enjoy the content, don't forget to hit the follow button if you haven't done so already. Keep liking the stream. I see you guys on YouTube. Thank you. Subscribe on the YouTube channel. Consider checking out the merch store, folks. I'm very, very proud of that merch store. So consider checking it out. Join the Discord, folks. Last Saturday of the month, we are doing Dune number 2. So watch the first Dune and join us on the last Saturday of the month. Thank you. I appreciate it. Later, peoples. Have a good one. Thank you. Thank you, Mouselander. See you later, everybody. Thank you. I appreciate it. As always, folks, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I'll be on. I hope to see you guys in the next one tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern time. Thank you all. See ya. Let's skedaddle before too much of the DNC keeps going. One second, folks. Oh, I got it. Let's go. All right, folks, hang tight. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.